Hello. Today I thought we would talk a little bit about chromatography, which is a basic technique to separate a mixture according to solubility in a solvent. A lot of compounds, chemicals that we deal with are actually mixtures. One of the more common ones is right here, ink in this marker. Now this is a vis-a-vis marker. If you try this with a Sharpie, it's not going to work as well because Sharpies are meant to be not soluble in water. So you would have to think of something like, say, if you got Sharpie on a piece of clothing that you like, in a lot of ways you're kind of done. Detergent's not going to do a lot with it. You could maybe try to clean it with something like nail polish remover, which is nonpolar, or even some rubbing alcohol might work, or a trick that my granddad used when we were painting, and you got paint on your hands. Like a latex paint isn't going to dissolve in regular soap, and so you would either clean your hands with paint thinner, or being that, maybe we didn't have paint thinner around, you'd pour a little gasoline on your hands, and that would dissolve the paint. Now, there are some things in gasoline you probably don't want on your hands, so I wouldn't recommend using that particular method. They make a lot better products to clean your hands, but it goes through with this idea of like dissolves like. Polar compounds are dissolved by polar solvents, and nonpolar compounds are dissolved by nonpolar solvents. And, when you try to mix oil and water, because oil is nonpolar, it will sit on top of the water, which is polar. Now here I've got a vis-a-vis marker, and it's wet erase, which means that the ink is definitely soluble in water. So, you write something, and then you can just wipe it up with a wet paper towel or something. And so what I'm going to do is, speaking of paper towel, this is going to be stepping in for filter paper today. And then I'm just going to make a dot. And when you do a chromatography, all you do is you can separate the components of the ink according to their solubility in water. They're all going to be either more or less soluble. And so here's my dot of ink, and then it's not right at the bottom because you want to give just a little bit of lip to put in. Here's my dish of water, and so I'm going to see if I can't. We can maybe even watch the magic happen. I'm going to let that flow down a little bit and see if we can't get more separation. Okay. Now, when you let that sit for a ways, what you'll find is you get a good separation. And so you find that your black ink is actually, you've got some yellows, some reds, and some blues making that up. And the mixture of that, when it's put together in a vis-a-vis marker, gives you black, okay? And then this one got maybe a little bit wet, but we're going to see if we can't still see here. And this is, if you get it too wet, it will run right off the paper. But you can see the same separation happened. So, anyway, that is chromatography.